And it's Cork who won the toss, so they're going to play from right to left in the first half on what is a very, very wet afternoon. There's the referee, that's Derek O'Mahony from Ardfinnan in Tipperary. His linesmen Maurice Deegan and Sean Lonergan. Alongside me here I've got Kevin McStay. The loss of Luke Connolly from the word go, that doesn't sound too promising for Cork.
Yeah, we don't particularly know why, whether it was injury or form related. We might see him later, but for sure he's a top player. Had a good match.
Little false start. Now we can get away. And straight away it is Diarmuid O'Connor collecting that one and delivering it down towards the Blackrock end. Picking it up here, however, is Sean Meehan. First touch in senior championship football for the 21-year-old. All the way back as far as another debutant, Maurice Shanley. Goalkeeper Micheál Martin from the Nemo Rangers club. They're set to play in the Cork County final, but that'll be sometime in 2021 at this stage. Matty Taylor, Cork trying to make a decent start here against the much fancied Munster champions from last year and current league champions as well. Cillian O'Hanlon taking that one back, slipping. Did he handle it on the ground as he fell inadvertently there? Managing to keep it alive there with the man who's just come in, Paul Walsh, in from the outset in place of Luke Connolly. Over to Kevin Flahiv. I don't think a Kerry player has touched the ball just yet. Minute gone. This is Kevin O'Donovan. Well, certainly every, well, at least half the members of the team so far have managed to get their first touch, playing in the red of Cork. That's Mark Collins taking it back again. Kerry prepared to just retreat, let Cork play around with it, where they're not actually hurting Kerry just yet, but maybe now as they advance. And that was Sean Powter, and the referee saw a foul inside. It's going to be a free for Cork, a push opportunity for them to take the lead.
Yeah, it's going to be Mark Collins from his hands, I suspect. And I was flagging pre-match the early chances that Cork had. These are crucial now. These are the sort of scores that build your confidence and get you going.
Mark Collins playing in his 34th ever championship match. Kicked 8 points against Kerry last year. That's under hit, and that's for David Moran to take and to begin the counter-offensive. Nice and easy earlier on. Tom O'Sullivan had got a goal up at that end in the first half last year. Then was in the Munster final. Tyke Morley bringing his goalkeeper into it, Shane Ryan. Diarmuid O'Connor all the way back from Paul Murphy. Now it's Kerry's turn to just hold on, dominate possession, see what they can do. Tom O'Sullivan. Moving forward here is Gavin White. Gavin who got a brilliant goal against Donegal in their last match, which was in the Alliance League 2 weeks ago now. Peter Crowley, so good to see him back. Initial fumble there from David Moran, then the foul committed by Cillian O'Hanlon, free kick to Kerry. Here's Ronan Buckley, his first touch in championship football. Big, tall man who impressed greatly for East Kerry in the Kerry County Championship. Oh, the jersey of Peter Crowley was pulled. The referee says play on, giving them an advantage, and now nothing coming of it, so he's going to bring it back. And Kerry will have the free kick.
Yeah, just a cheap jersey pull. Notice on the Cork side, the two wing backs, in particular Matty Taylor, Kevin O'Donovan, are tucking in on the weak side as much as they can.
Gavin White now trying to get away there from the attentions of Ian Maguire. Ball stolen back again, and Maurice Shanley, ball in hands, free to Cork. Out it comes here as far as Kevin O'Donovan. Kevin, who was voted onto the club team of the year last year, the only Nemo Rangers player to actually make that. Maurice Shanley now fouled there by Dara Moynihan. Moving it ahead here, Cillian O'Hanlon. Plenty of space over that side for Sean Meehan. Showing his pace, getting by Gavin White. That's not easy to do. Into the corner here, out came Brian Hurley to get his first touch. Appealing for that one. Going to be a line ball for the Rebels. Brian Hurley, who has been plagued by injuries over the years. That ball given away badly, and Sean O'Shea now has his first touch, linking up with Tony Brosnan. Brosnan has had a wonderful Kerry campaign in the last couple of seasons. Second time to play in the championship. That's a good ball across here, contained here by David Clifford, and inevitably it's the great man himself who gets the opening point of the match here. David Clifford from Fossa putting Kerry a point in front.
All from a very careless sideline ball from Brian Hurley, and Kerry work it through the hands very nicely, and that man Clifford will not be missing from that position.
Peter Keane, the manager, looking on as Micheál Martin belts it out into the middle of the field. You can be fairly certain that Kerry will push up on every Cork kick out and try to press at every available opportunity. Here's Tony Brosnan taking on Flahiv. And then the little tug, ball brought back, free once again to Kerry, and Cork will have to be disciplined.
Yeah, it was a feature of the opening quarter last year as well, Ger. These frees, too many of them conceded. Once there's a bit of pressure and a one-on-one, the first, of course, cannot be just to stop them with a free, because they have serious free takers both sides. Shawnee O'Shea one side and David Clifford obviously the other.
4 frees already awarded to Kerry. Sean O'Shea making a little better angle. That's under hit. Micheál Martin having to be on his toes here. Back out towards Flahiv here, who gave away that. And now the ball off the number 4, out for a sideline. So it's going to be a sideline kick for Kerry. Once again, Dara Moynihan playing it in here, dangerously so, but plenty of Cork players there to take possession. Rory Deane expected to be a big influence in this match. Paul Walsh, a bit of surprise that he wasn't included. He played really well in the very last match that they played here, which was against Louth, the day that they made progress as Division 3 league champions. Up as far as Matty Taylor, ready to go by now. Little stumble here, just halted his progress. Foul committed. Free to Kerry.
Touched on the ground.
Ronan Buckley kicked in here by Tony Brosnan, held on to here. There was a marked possibility there for Shawnee O'Shea, but he opts to go in instead, kicking it under pressure. Should be a Cork possession, and is taken out here by the new full-back Maurice Shanley. Opportunity for Rory Deane just to hold possession. Under pressure here is Ian Maguire. 3 men against him. Look at that for the way they are grouping together, Kerry. That's the style of defence that they're coming up with. And here comes Brian Biagli, right up to the edge of the penalty area and inside, gives it back here to Tony Brosnan, and Brosnan has the chance, hits it off the post, comes back out to Shawnee Powter, and Powter is able to get it away for Cork. Well, the Kerry defence that time, 4 players converging on the man and the ball. That's the kind of desire and pressure they're going to be applying, I think, this afternoon, and Cork have got to be aware of that. Here comes Kevin O'Donovan, all the way up here as far as Mark Collins, bending his back to take it. Kerry with the opening point of the match, but lots of attacks so far. Getting the ball in here is Brian Hurley. Route towards goal blocked initially, so Rory Deane now standing up strongly, still holding. No opportunity to make inroads so far. 1 man in towards the edge of the 20-metre line, and it doesn't get that far. Back out it comes again, and the end result is going to be another sideline kick for Cork.
Massive pressure by the Cork, from 14 back to every ball. They're swarming in, putting a lot of pressure, a lot of heat on the carrier.
That's kicked in by Kevin O'Donovan, right to the edge of the D there, fisted back out, comes out as far as Tom O'Sullivan, spills loose there. Deane trying to get to it, instead it is Paul Murphy who got there first. Now Diarmuid O'Connor, Moran picking out Tig Morley, the man from Temple No. Gavin White now, the Crokes player, chance to carry it forward here inside the Cork 65. Morley there as well. Dara Moynihan expected to buzz around the field here, expected to do an awful lot of running and an awful lot of work. Foley clipped in here as far as Peter Crowley. Cork retreat. O'Sullivan again. Tig Morley away to his left-hand side. Opportunity for Gavin White, trying to make some progress down there. John O'Rourke is the one who's trying to keep tabs on him. Still White. All the way back it comes, as far as Tony Brosnan. Trying to cut inside Brosnan, kicking it off his left. Bounces awkwardly there for Matty Taylor. Very, very awkward in the misty, wet conditions we're having at Páirc Uí Chaoimh this afternoon. And that's going to be the game's first 45.
Yeah, he needs to take on a difficult ball like that. You got to go square behind the ball, get the tummy completely square behind the ball. You can't be taking it side on in case the touch goes awry. And that's what happened there. And this is a 45. And 45s in the modern game, Gerard, are essentially kickable frees.
Peter Keane there, a league winner this year, Munster winner last year, but the target for every Kerry manager is just one thing, and that is come back, usually in September, with the Sam Maguire.
That's the standard they set, and invariably they're thereabouts.
Sean O'Shea is going to be the taker of this first 45. Who is utterly focused on the task in hand. Devotes so much of his life to being as good as he can be out there on the park. Of course, he knows Cork well because he was at college here in UCC, a Sigerson Cup winner. Deep intake of breath. Whatever breeze there is blowing from right to left as he is about to kick this one. Catches it, but doesn't direct it where he wanted to. And so it's the opening wide of the match. Kerry with the only point so far to show, the only score of the game after 11 minutes.
Yeah, it's untypical, you'd have to say. The Kerry attack have had chances, a couple of frees, at 45, one or two from play as well, and just not as clinical as we normally see.
Micheál Martin in the last couple of league games was going short with his kickouts. He's gone long with everyone so far. That's Mark Collins into space here, where Paul Walsh is able to move it forward. Helped by Ian Maguire, shoulder coming in there from Ronan Buckley, carried out now by Gavin White, tearing away past Maguire. He's got pace, the number 7 of Kerry, a support player, Buckley alongside him, a crunching tackle then coming in from Powter. Out it comes once again, Mark Collins to his right-hand side, Maguire, Collins again, ready to pick it up. He's been talking in the past week about the need to beat a big team. That's an advance mark there, a forward mark taken by Brian Hurley. Should be an opportunity for him, and is, of getting the levelling score here. Kicking from outside the D. Umpires have a little look at it and then wave the white flag. And that is the opening point for Cork. Point apiece here in the Munster semi-final. How about that for a tackle from
class.
Sean Powter?
Great hit, and it turns the play upside down. And a super ball in from Mark Collins, the mark for Hurley, and then the execution. So a point apiece.
Up into the air they go, jumping for this one. Touchdown by Moran. And then sliding into that, referee deeming that Ian Maguire was fouling his man in question being Paul Murphy. Taken very quickly. Down here as far as Moynihan. Dara Moynihan trying to jink inside Sean Powter. And back out again if he can. And then the referee is going to award a free kick. Thought he slipped, really.
It might have been for the first connection, Ger, I think. Yeah, just there, where it kind of left the hand in a bit longer than perhaps was.
Clifford takes it quickly anyway. Has a chance to take it back here from Paul Murphy, where he goes. Maurice Shanley has the onerous, indeed giant-sized task of keeping an eye on him, and this is a good move forward here by Brian O'Biagli. O'Biagli has a support player. It's a very good stop by Micheál Martin. Point blank range, comes back out here to Ronan Buckley, and Kerry will be happy to get a point at the end of all of that. It might well have been a goal, the opening goal of the match. A wonderful stop by the Cork goalkeeper in just his second championship match from Brian O'Biagli. Look at this for a save by the Nemo Rangers man. Spread himself well and got it away out to the wings.
Well, as often happens, Jerry, you know, a kind of a mistimed hop broke the cover, and he had goal in his mind, but Micheál Martin was equal to it. A very fine save, but a score on the follow-up, of course.
And that score scored by Ronan Buckley. His first point then coming in championship football on his debut. That's kicked ahead by Sean Meehan for Cork. Into the corner here, a bit of a scramble to get to this one. And I think there was a push in the back. The referee, Derek O'Mahony, has spotted. Cork conceding free kicks. Need to get in those legitimate challenges against Kerry quickly. Here's Dara Moynihan, all the way forward towards Brosnan. That time it was wow. The referee decided it wasn't a fair challenge on the part of Kevin O'Donovan.
Yeah, my first reaction was it was a foul, and I was surprised he let it go, and then he whistled it a bit late.
9 free kicks awarded to Kerry so far, 3 to Cork. That's an interesting statistic, and Cork will just have to be aware of the necessity of tackling legitimately. Here comes Powter. Change of direction from him, and Shawnee O'Shea is still after him. This time it's Powter who's been fouled. Kicks it across here as far as the centre half back, Sean Meehan, 21-year-old from Kishcame in West Cork. Back to Paul Walsh again, whose cousin Aidan, of course, was an All-Ireland winner 10 years ago in the colours of Cork. Young Footballer of the Year that year as well. Rory Dean. Moving forward again, here is Killian O'Hanlon. Can be a very, very influential player. Played really well in last year's corresponding match. That time it's Rory Dean. Back once again, it comes to O'Hanlon. Lots and lots of options. Plays it across as far as Sean Powter. Kicking it forward here, one for Brian Hurley to try and go after. Then in came the shoulder of John O'Rourke. Down went Tadhg Morley. Referee's whistle sounds. And it looks like he's going to be having a word in the ear of John O'Rourke as well for that.
Well, it's the going in with the foot, attempting to tackle with the foot. He won't want that, and it'll be yellow.
First of the match. 2 points to 1, Kerry leading. 16 minutes are gone. There will be a water break coming up pretty soon. Tadhg Morley, meanwhile, still feeling the effects of that challenge, that foul by O'Rourke. Well, I mentioned the foul count so far, Kevin, and Cork showing great eagerness, but they have to bring discipline with that as well.
Yeah, there's some silly fouls. I mean, that was a chance where they could put pressure on the corner back, and they just go over the top and give instant relief to the Kerry defence.
This is Shane Ryan. Booted into space here. It's an awkward one, but it's going to come down here. In the end, there's a push by Kerry this time on Sean Meehan. And the end result, a Cork free kick, which they have taken quickly. Back out to John O'Rourke again, giving it to Mark Collins. Deep inside his own half of the field. Walsh. Players calling for it. One of them here is John O'Rourke from Carbery Rangers. Killian O'Hanlon now. Player on the right-hand side gives it down the field instead. It's as far as Brian Hurley. Hurley trying to take on Peter Crowley. Then back again towards O'Rourke. All the way back to Paul Walsh. Just not prepared to hit any silly shots, so they're holding on to possession, being cautious and careful, Cork. Hoping to try and get somebody freed up into the right position for the low percentage shot on target. Here's O'Hanlon. No great rush. Sean Meehan bringing Maurice Shanley into it. Matty Taylor back at number 7. He played in the last league match. We saw him here against Louth playing at centre half back. Shanley gives it to Kevin Flahav, man who's regarded as perhaps Cork's tightest man marker. Here he is now in an attacking position up to the Kerry 45-metre line. Kerry leading by 2 points to 1. Good transfer. Several players involved. Collins to hit the final shot, and between the uprights and over the bar, and the teams are level. 2 points apiece.
Well, you know what I'm going to say. Patience, Ger. We say it all the time in these mass defences and +1s and sweepers and so on. You have to be so patient to work your chance, and that was well executed.
And that is when the referee has decided to call for the water break. Just a couple of images from the opening 16-17 minutes of the game here. It's some 8 years since Cork last beat Kerry, of course, in the championship. That's Ronan McCarthy's target. It's their longest recent spell without a victory against the Kingdom since the 9-year barren spell between 74 and 82. What have you made of it so far, Kevin?
I think Cork are well settled. Kerry are still a little bit snatchy. Some of the opportunities they had, I would have expected them to do better with them. Cork will be delighted, as the challengers really, that it's level pegging.
Just show you these pictures here. They're from Scoil Cliana Community National School in Carricktool in County Cork, and they're from the junior class up to the 4th class. Self-portraits. I tell you, there's a couple of beauties in there. Really good. Wish I could draw like that. Anyway, those are your lovely pictures, Jake, and all the rest of the classes down there in Carricktool. Right, 2 points apiece. Peter Keane, what will he have made of the opening 10 minutes or 50 minutes?
He'll need more movement. He's not getting as much movement as he wants up front. I think his defence is quite safe. Brian Hurley is definitely an issue. He will cause problems. Powter has settled in very nicely in the Cork full back line, and yeah, it's very well poised. And to get to the water break with the game at two apiece, I think Cork will be the happier.
So Cian O'Neill there, the former Kildare manager, who was with Rona McCarthy, part of the backroom team. Kevin Smith and Aidan O'Connell, along with Sean Hayes and Gary O'Halloran, all involved behind the scenes. This kick out here is straight towards Peter Crowley, helped it on its way, and now to Gavin White, who seems to have switched wings. Bring it back, says the referee. That was the run here, and this was the foul by Ian Maguire, just tugging back the Cork man, and they know they can expect problems if this continues, because Clifford is on hand to get his second. That's the first one to come from open play for the 21-year-old.
Well, it's too late once he has it in his hands. Mar Shanley is not going to change what he's been doing for a lifetime, going right, jinking back onto his left, and then swinging it left to right. Beautiful accuracy.
Micheál Martin kicking this long again. Kerry there in numbers, but it spills away. Initially nobody able to get it quite under control. John O'Rourke was then fouled. Free kick taken by Mark Collins of Cork. Hits it all the way up towards the unmarked Brian Hurley. For a moment he was unmarked, trying to set up a chance for himself. 13 metres out, oh, it's blocked. On his blind side there was a Kerry player coming across and saved a near certain score. And Kerry now scrambling to get that one. Tyke Morley gets it away out as far as Ronan Buckley. Well, that was a really dangerous situation. It had genuine potential there for Brian Hurley, but he didn't see the Kerry player coming across and making a magnificent block.
Well, the chance came from actually another Cork attacker. Mick out it was, but he set a pick and held off the two Kerry lads, and that's why Hurley got so open. You would have thought it was bad marking, but he really should have done better. Should have seen that defender coming in his wing mirror. It might have been Buckley. I didn't see it in fine detail, but Kerry player came out of nowhere and made a great block.
Brianna Biagli, who's played in so many different positions for Kerry in recent years. Here comes Peter Crowley giving it off to Dermot O'Connor. O'Connor, a big, tall centre field player, runs out of possession eventually, and Flahab is able to get it back out to Maguire and take a return ball. And Cork set about setting up the next attack. Kevin Flahab, lacking support, saw that there was a big gap between himself and the nearest forwards to him, so had to hold it up, then won the free kick. This to be taken here by Killian O'Hanlon. A lot of Kerry players in there, but they can't get as far as Brian Hurley. That's another one that he's won in there, and he's one man who can cause problems. That time ball touched on the ground. He once scored 8 points in a league match in Tralee against Kerry. Has a decent record against them. Scored a goal last year. Luke Connolly got 2 in last year's game. Dara Moynihan setting it forward here. Nice little change of direction there by Brian Biagli. Runs into the tackle then of Matty Taylor, and the referee says free foul by the Kerry player. Free kick to Cork. Ball brought forward. Taylor ready to take it. Kerry leading by 3 points to 2 with 22 minutes gone here. Remember, it's a Munster semi-final, and the final coming up, which will be in 2 weeks' time, and already waiting there, the footballers of Tipperary. Maurice Shanley getting it back as far as Micheál Martin. Switched across to Sean Meehan. Swept forward here as far as Paul Walsh once again. A late inclusion in place of Luke Connolly. Here's Walsh again. That time it's Kerry who did the fouling, and they've been catching up, committing the fouls now in recent times. They're on 9 fouls, where it was 3 when I gave the last stat. Here's Colm O'Callaghan, first time I think to get his hands on the ball in this match. In as far as Powter. Powter kicking from outside the 20-metre line, showing he's not just a wonderful tackler, he's also a very, very astute forward, and gets his first point in the championship here. It's 3 points apiece, and the teams are level once again for the third time.
Lovely handling and lovely jink to his right, made room. That's what cornerbacks can do now in the modern game. They're as accurate as the corner forwards.
Sean O'Shea, 2 men against him, kicks it down into the corner here. There to pick it up, David Clifford against Shanley, trying to cut inside, almost losing it, giving it back towards O'Shea, taking it back Clifford. 2 or 3 players converging on him. Back out to Murphy, moved around smartly through Tony Brosnan. Then it's Dermot O'Connor. Here's Peter Crowley rather, delighted to be back in the action again, nicely in as far as Moynihan, shielded it very well with his body, controls it, kicks from 20 metres, and he's got a score out of it. Good work indeed by Dara Moynihan, just his second ever championship point, and he's put Kerry back in front again.
John O'Rourke lunged really, and this is the earlier play I was talking about, Ger. He got a lot of freedom because of a pick earlier on, but he should have seen the Kerry player coming across and putting a great brave block on it. It was certainly an opportunity.
Sure was. Paul Murphy now, moving forward with some purpose. Dean tracking him, trying to get him to go infield. He wants to stay out there. Brosnan. Tony Brosnan getting by Kevin Flahiv. Brosnan still, this is dangerous, into Sean O'Shea, kicking under pressure and kicking it super. Oh, he's kicked it wide. I thought he'd managed to make it. Stays at 4 points to 3, second wide by Kerry.
Well, I was like you, Ger. I thought he had made it as well, and the umpire was unsure for a moment, but nothing. It flies by on the outside. Nothing from the player himself. It's always the best indication.
An optical illusion. Micheál Martin again, once more kicking it down into the middle of the park, and Kerry win it. Paul Murphy making the mark, giving it off to the midfielder Dermot O'Connor, able to storm forward here now up to the 20-metre line, and that one has gone wide. Well, a couple of wides in a row now by Kerry. Really, that was a gilt-edged opportunity from a poor kick out, not collected by anybody from Cork.
And that was put them on top of the first quarter misses that I was talking about. It's just so unlike a Kerry forward division to give away. And I know that was the midfielder flying in through that time, Jeremy O'Connor, who has impressed, but they don't tend to miss those sort of opportunities.
David Moran is out ahead of everybody that time to claim it, so another kick out has gone to Kerry. They're going to have to vary that somewhat, Cork. Ronan Buckley, and passing it as far as Paul Murphy. Low inside here towards Tony Brosnan, steals a march on Kevin Flahiv, and Flahiv fouls him, and the referee has the notebook out, and I think it's a case of one too many.
And he had an opportunity to pass the ball to the runner on the outside. Lovely mark by David Moran again. He's so good at it, and then he drove on with it. He didn't claim the mark. The referee gave it to him, but he didn't bother claiming it. You can see the hand up there, but drive on.
Flahiv was ticked, no yellow card given. Clifford, however, will make Cork pay for all of that by kicking it easily over the crossbar, and he's got a third so far, 2 of them from frees. 5 points to 3, then Kerry lead with 26.5 minutes gone. Well, now what are they going to do with the kickouts that Kerry are winning in the middle of the park?
And look at the push-up and the pressure that Kerry is forcing Micheál Martin to go along, and then it's a 50-50 contest. Kick
to the wings this time and hoping for better. Ian Maguire does indeed touch it down, and that one works out for Cork. John O'Rourke slipping this one back as far as Flahiv into the centre for Mark Collins. Storming forward now is Killian O'Hanlon in the driving rain. Ian Maguire holding it up, supported here by Mark Collins. His 10th year playing championship for Cork, looking for a big victory against Kerry. Victory against the old enemy been few and far between. Killian O'Hanlon cracking that one, but it's away to the left-hand side. Just Cork's first wide coming, as you can see, in the 28th minute. Two between them.
Jumping off the game plan there, Killian O'Hanlon. They want to rotate the ball. They want to get the 2 minutes out of the full attack, and he just takes one there, pots it, and well wide.
You know, since the water break, Kerry, you've got 3 points to Cork's 1. Those water breaks can often be highly important in that respect. A team can suddenly put a burst of scores together. Happens time and again. That time, Ian Maguire trying to burst forward, stopped in his tracks, free kick.
Yeah, it should be more than that, Ger, really, because that was a cynical foul. Maguire had a player inside. It might have been Mark Collins, I think it was. And Obiugli just comes across him and really, takes one for the team, but didn't actually get a card.
Brian Hurley is going to take this from his hands. We've also seen Killian O'Hanlon hit them from the ground from about 45 metres. But it's Hurley entrusted with this to try and narrow the lead, and he has let that one slip away left and wide. So a second wide by Cork in the space of a couple of moments. 5-3 still. The game really yet to catch fire. Slip here by Peter Crowley. Forced into the error by the persistence and the presence of 2 Cork forwards that time.
He's going to throw this up, Ger. There was sledging after the event. I think you're going to see that. I'd be very surprised if not. Killian O'Hanlon goes in stupidly. And here's a tap over free. And there he is talking to him, yeah.
So for verbals.
Yeah, he's turned the decision around. Now that is just such poor discipline by Cork. Anything can happen now.
Well, it could have been a 1-point game. It might still be a 1-point game. It's Collins, and this time there's no question about it, as Rory Dean is grounded, and there's got to be a free in, and if everybody keeps their traps shut, they might well get to kick it. This is what happened a moment ago here, and there you can see a couple of players had words with Peter Crowley.
Now here's my question, Ger. If he's changed the call and made it a hot ball, where's the black card?
Yeah, there is a black card. That is a black card offence, 1 of 5.
Hands up, Paul, hands up, Paul.
Mark Collins is going to take this. Easy as you like, puts it up and over. Pressure was on him nonetheless. So a second point for Collins, and it's 5 points to 4. 5 minutes to go to half-time.
Cork lucky to have the full complement for those 5 minutes as well. And but well put away by Collins, and a 1-point game. You're right, Ger, it hasn't taken off the game, but it's still so well contested.
There were 2 players sledging, as it were, when Peter Crowley went down at that time. Could you get 2 black cards for that, I wonder?
Of course you could.
That would have been interesting. Here's John O'Rourke now. Back out here to Sean Meehan. Killian O'Hanlon, one of those involved in all of that. Kevin O'Donovan keeping it going. Very assured wing back who loves to go forward as well. Rory Dean. O'Hanlon looking to try and make inroads. Operating around the edges, 65 metres out from the Kerry goal. Possession, yes, but a point behind still. Powter impishly carrying it forward, slipping. Cork fans delighted to see him back in the Cork starting 15 again. First time in a couple of years for that in the championship. Down he goes. This time it's Colm O'Callaghan who's fouled.
Fouling in the middle third by both teams is savage. They're just letting no build up so they can set up and use their extra man in the defence. But the referee really is going to have to take a hold on that. It's not heavy fouling, but it's delay fouling.
The referee has been busy, Kevin. He's blown his whistle 26 times so far for fouls, 13 per team. Rory Dean. This time getting away here is Kevin O'Donovan, supported by Matty Taylor. The man they free up here is Paul Walsh. Nobody's going to try a shot, even in these conditions, from any kind of distances. Collins trying to get it back into the inside forwards, inside towards the dangerous Brian Hurley. Tackled well. Kerry win it back. Have it there with Gavin White. Out to Diarmuid O'Connor from McGuile. That's kept well going there by Buckley, but stepping out in spite of his very best efforts.
Gavin White is down too. He took a heavy belt from Brian Hurley, and then there's a follow-up belt just as it was passing the ball, slightly late as well, I'd have to say. But nothing savage in the tackle, but late all the same, and he's breathing hard.
A couple of hefty belts in this match, that's for sure. Killian O'Hanlon coming onto it here is Paul Walsh, dispossessed. Bending his back to take it there is Ronan Buckley, justifying his inclusions, physically strong. But here comes Collins again, trying to add to the couple of points he's got already. Under pressure, wide this time, 3 wides for Cork. And it's got a deflection. It's a 45 instead, so not a wide.
Well, he got lucky there because it was a poor shot selection. He was ill-advised, he was off balance, and there was a Kerry defender coming in. He was the guy that got the touch for the 45, but it could work out well.
Gavin White still requiring some attention. Injured a little while ago, not 100% just yet. That would be a concern most certainly for Peter Keane, because Gavin White's become more and more this year. So far as we've had a championship and league season, he's become a very, very important player for Kerry.
That was one of the wallops he got. He got an early one where it bounced off Brian Hurley's chest, and Brian Hurley just went through him then.
Well, it's going to be Killian O'Hanlon. One more minute to go of the opening 35. His team a point behind. Looking for his first ever championship score, by the way, if he makes it here. And that is up, and it's over, and the teams are level, and the sides are level for the 4th time, thanks to the kicking skills of Killian O'Hanlon with that 45. 5 apiece. Low scoring by Cork Kerry standards, that's for sure. When you consider over the years that Kerry have really imposed themselves on Cork quite a bit. They won by 12 points in 2014, 11 in 2017, 17 in 2018, but only 3 between them last year. And Cork have done well on the Kerry kick out this time and won it. And Killian O'Hanlon has ball in hands.
There's that foul again I'm talking about, Ger. Just a holding foul to let everybody filter back.
1 additional minute will be played at the end of the opening 35. Into the hands of Ian Maguire, the team captain of the 26-year-old, storms forward here, ready to free it inside. Kick there by Kevin O'Donovan, and O'Donovan under pressure kicks it over the bar. What a time to get your first championship score, and it's Kevin O'Donovan of Nemo Rangers who has done it, and Cork in stoppage time lead the match here by 6 points to 5. Kerry with the short kick out, back from Jason Foley as far as his goalkeeper, Tyg Morley. Kerry looked more assured and doing less fouling in the opening 10 minutes, but they have certainly been made well aware that Cork are really up for the battle here. All the way down as far as Sean O'Shea. Here comes Paul Murphy, trying to get by there. Paul Murphy fouled by Colm O'Callaghan. Free kick to Kerry. They're looking to try and draw level now. We've played the 1 minute of stoppage time. Murphy kicking it in here, inside, beyond Tony Brosnan, beyond everybody else, and the referee blows for half-time here. And Kerry, the Munster champions, are going in at the break here, and they're a point down. Brian Hurley has certainly been leading the attack well and causing problems for the Kerry defence. Gavin White's been in trouble with injuries, but looks to have recovered as we reach half-time here at Páirc Uí Chaoimh in the Munster semi-final. We're at half-time. It's Cork 6 points, it's Kerry 5 points. We'll have analysis and much to say.
Period of 70-80 minutes is another thing.
Well, we'll find out as we head back to Kevin and Ger.
Thank you very much indeed, Joanne. Don't think there are any changes whatsoever for either team. In the first half, Cork had 10 scoring chances, took 6. Kerry had 13, took 5. Straight away, a free kick awarded. Kerry back once again threatening. David Clifford rolls it all the way back, booted out of play there by Paul Walsh. Kerry looking to try and get on terms as quickly as possible. Colm Cooper feeling on our panel that there's a goal coming early in the second half. Let's see, he should know. He's scored 5 goals and 77 against Cork over the years. Let's see whether those who have followed him in the green and gold can do something similar here in the second half. Cause a bit of mayhem. David Clifford into open space here. Paul Murphy slipping, looking for support, has it. It's Tony Brosnan, and Brosnan getting a championship score here and tying up the match right at the very start of the second half. So level now 5 times here.
But the point belongs to Clifford. That pass with his right foot, magnificent. Just put on the brakes here, sold a little dummy, and then has the other foot. He's unreal with his left foot, of course, and then his right foot right across the pitch.
Well, Tony Brosnan will glad to see the point alongside his name anyway. And here comes Sean Powter, who's already scored in this game, knocking it down. The hand of Tyke Morley got there ahead of Brian Hurley. Racing across to try and get this one. Killian O'Hanlon pushing the back by Murphy. Free kick. O'Hanlon from Kilshannig ready to take it. Into open space here for Maddie Taylor, holding off the challenge. Walsh. Once again, it's Kevin O'Donovan. Sean Meehan now, leaving it for John O'Rourke. Once again, a cautious build-up. No chances taken. Kerry back en masse. O'Rourke. All the way back it comes to Kevin Flahiv. Ian Maguire now. Back as far as Maddie Taylor. Just about managed to retain possession here. Taylor racing after it, got there ahead of Peter Crowley, was thinking about coming out to challenge him. Back in here as far as Killian O'Hanlon. Mark Collins leaves it there. Walsh comes onto it. A lot of work to do to try and get it anyway. There, the goal, the ball turned over. Yet another turnover in this match. And Kerry now able to come forward here. Brian O'Biagli, who had a goal chance in the first half. Best goal chance we saw. Sails in over the head of Clifford. Dangerous situation, gets the ball back. Oh! That has gone wide. How did he miss? He can't believe it.
Well, he went for it, that is for sure. There was a tap over point. I thought
Killian O'Hanlon. Brian Hurley. Have you ever seen anything like this?
I was in Ballybuffet last Sunday, Ger.
Well, we may have lost pictures because of the heavy rain. We apologise for that. And it's going to be a free in for Cork for a foul on Ian Maguire just outside the D. And Cork have an opportunity of taking the lead again. But impossible conditions, you would have to say, under normal circumstances. But here we are, mid-November. This is the championship of 2020.
This is a big free. I'd have to say, Ger, it was awarded from the handy department, let me put it that way. And Mark Collins, who had an effort in the first half, he's actually handed it over to Killian O'Hanlon. You'll recall he kicked the big 45 in the first half, so confidence should be up.
Again, apologies for the loss of pictures. Killian O'Hanlon, who kicked 145 earlier on, approaching this one now. 5 minutes into the second half, almost 6. Looking for the perfect connection. He does just that, and it gets up and over the Kerry crossbar. And a second point for Killian O'Hanlon, the 27-year-old who's made it Cork 7, Kerry 6 in this Munster semi-final, where there is a place at stake in the final in 2 weeks' time against the Premier County from Tipperary. Paul Murphy for Kerry taking it out here in the monsoon. Gavin White then trying to get away from Ian Maguire. It's been niggly like that for so much of this game. Diarmuid O'Connor. It reaches Brian O'Biagli up to the Cork 45-metre line. Sean O'Shea says, give it to me. Diarmuid O'Connor looking forward to see just where's the optimum place, and it skids in the turf there, and there was nothing in the world that Tony Brosnan could do about it.
Yeah, if you're not behind the ball, it's once it hits the surface. I mean, it's torrential rain, obviously, and there has to be a lot of water on the surface, no matter how good Porky is, and that makes it really difficult. Your first touch, well, your passing, of course, has to be perfect as well.
It's like being in the shower for the full 70 minutes. But Cork and Kerry are doing their level best to entertain us. Brian Dean fouled. The pitch has held up really well, just like it did last week. And of course this pitch was maligned over many, many years. But the Cork County Board put money in and they put a lot of care and effort into it. And they deserve credit, I think, for getting it into the state in which it is right now. Very playable. Can't do anything about the elements unless we put a cover on the place.
It's a thought.
Cost enough money now, Kevin. Killian O'Hanlon back out here as far as Sean Powter. Sean Meehan up to a certain point, then gives it off to Maguire, and he tries to penetrate as best he can, loses it. Then there's a support player. It was Powter again. Then the boot of John O'Rourke came in to make contact as the Kerry player was trying to pick it up. That's a foul.
If Diarmuid O'Connor commits to picking it up, and that's a lesson for sometimes you're going to get a belt and it's going to hurt, but if you bend your back, you get the free.
The season will end for one of these two teams at the end of this match. There could be extra time, of course. There could be penalties. That was Mark Collins that time. And the referee now seeing that a substitution's about to be made, and Mark Keane is coming in. Mark Keane is coming in place of Colm O'Callaghan. This is the player now who's playing in the AFL with Collingwood, played recently against Fremantle, Mitchelstown player. This is his championship debut. So back from Australia for the Christmas and the winter, presumably, and now playing in the Munster semi-final. Let's see how he does.
And he's gone straight to 14. He's a massive presence, obviously, in there. Jason Foley glued to him, welded to him, and keeping a big eye out.
Well, Kerry have the ball back. Kerry now trying to turn possession into a scoring opportunity. It's with Clifford, their main danger man. 3 points in the first half. 2 of those were from frees. It's back with Tony Brosnan. And Brosnan kicking, and that one has gone wide. Missed opportunity for Tony Brosnan. 1 point so far for him. 7 wides by Kerry.
Luke Connolly, Ger.
There's Luke Connolly coming in as well, so they're really throwing the kitchen sink at it, so to speak.
Well, energy
going
levels,
off as John O'Rourke.
Energy levels, Ger, I'd say. You know, they want to keep this tempo going. They have their team up for the fight, and anyone that's lagging at all, new guys in.
Well, they always talk about finishing with a really, really strong team. Not that you want to start with a weak one, mind you. Cork have possession. It's Dean, stayed in, the ball stayed in definitely. His feet might have been out when he got that. So Mark Keane and Luke Connolly in to see what they can do to try and help Cork beat Kerry for the first time in 8 years. Kerry so hotly fancied. Nobody whatsoever was tipping Cork to win this. There's a long way to go anyway. We're only some 10 minutes into the second half, and a very intriguing 25 ahead of us. Sean Powter. Dara Moynihan trying to limit his effectiveness, forces him back. O'Hanlon, there's Luke Connolly with his first touch. Once again it is Killian O'Hanlon. Cork in no rush. Powter. Kerry can't trouble them if they haven't got the ball in their hands. Back once more. Paul Walsh. Change of direction by Ian Maguire, but they're still only in the middle third. Real lack of progress being made, but then giving the ball away cheaply and foolishly is a cardinal error. So nobody wants to commit that error, and the ball has been given away by Collins that time as far as Sean O'Shea. And Kerry now can advance here with Clifford. Missed a chance a little while ago, was misfortunate. Kicks this time down off the post. He's hit it again, and this time Brosnan had it, lost it. Matty Taylor tries to get it out, trying to bend his back together there, Paul Murphy, and also the other number 5, Kevin O'Donovan, and the referee says Murphy was the guilty one with a push in the back. more changes coming, and Stephen O'Brien's about to come in.
Dara Moynihan is coming, I think, off. Well, sometimes, yeah, he's shaking the head. He certainly isn't thrilled about that call. But
as you said earlier, it's about freshening things up.
Well, there was a chance in the last play, and that's twice now that the metalwork or the woodwork has been involved, and sometimes it's just on for you, isn't it?
Yep. Well, it's some 12 minutes now since Kerry last scored, and 6.5 since Cork managed it. It's a possession game, and you don't want to lose it, and Cork have, and Kerry with David Moran setting up Stephen O'Brien, his first involvement since coming on as a replacement, fouled by Luke Connolly, who himself was a sub. Strange that he didn't start, but then it was maybe the tactics to crowd the middle third and try and win an awful lot of possession there. If Clifford wasn't getting the ball in, well, he couldn't do too much damage. I guess that's probably the theory. Tom O'Sullivan. David Moran trying to go by the other number 8, and Ian Maguire drags him down. Free kick to Kerry, point adrift in the 49th minute.
Well, the amount of fouling, I have to comment on it again, in this middle term between the two 65s or 245s is biblical at this stage. Everyone's just holding each other to stop the play.
Matty Taylor pleading his innocence. Referee might have a word with him.
Tackle with the boot again, is it?
Free kick anyway.
Yeah, was it a tackle with the boot, Jerry? He's pulling it far. I think it probably is. He's very sharp on that tonight.
And there's the Kerry backroom team there. James Foley along Tommy Griffin there, alongside Peter Keane. David Clifford, meanwhile, just gets it up. Oh, he's missed it. Dear, oh dear, I thought he'd put it over the bar. You'd put your housekeeping money on him to put that over. How did he miss that?
And well wide on the near side.
8 wides. Only 2 wides for Cork in the match so far. Dean breaking it down. There as far as Sean Powter. Picking out Kevin Flahiv rather, and he's fouled as he was just about to move the ball forward. Not proving to be the happiest of afternoons so far for David Clifford, but there's an awful lot of the match to go. More changes coming, and coming into the action is Killian Spillane. Going off, Tony Brosnan.
Kerry have to know that they are in a massive contest, and the season is resting on, well, the next 20 minutes or so.
That's hit back here as far as Kevin Flahiv. Deep inside his own half of the field. Confronted here by Spillane, manages to retain possession here. Cork have it. The challenge there is on the fullback Maurice Shanley. Ball coughed up, and Kerry have got it, and it's Stephen O'Brien once again. All the way back as far as Sean O'Shea. David Moran trying to go past Killian O'Hanlon. Moran running into the challenge, takes too many steps out of it. Wrong decision on his part. A very experienced player, David Moran. 44th championship match today, but his team is behind by 7 points to 6, and there are 20 minutes left at Páirc Uí Chaoimh. Of normal time, that is. Here comes Gavin White. In as far as Stephen O'Brien. Always capable of doing damage to the opposing defence, and that time on the ground, free out, as you say, Kevin. Kerry people will remember the goal that Stephen O'Brien got here 2 years ago when Cork started well, but Kerry finished impressively and absolutely stormed Cork in the end. It was a trouncing that particular day, and the referee now with the notebook out again here as Kevin Flahiv is on the ground.
So is Ian Maguire in front of us, and he certainly is going to have a chat with Ronan Buckley. This
Let's see what the referee made of it. He's got the black card, so Kerry are down to 14 men for the next 10 minutes. It'll be 61, 62 minutes before we see Ronan Buckley back in again. So problems to be addressed here by Peter Keane. The rain has eased anyway. The problems continue. Kerry have only scored 6 points in 52 minutes for a side absolutely hot favourites, and Michael Hurley is about to come into the game as well, it would appear. Michael has scored 4 points against Tyrone in last year's Super 8s at Croke Park.
They've hidden the footballs, Ger. It'd be handy. Never mind the ball, get on with the game.
Mark Collins ready to take this. Kerry with 14, Cork with 15. That was risky, wasn't it? Sean Powter managed to hold on to it. Now who's going to get the next score? Luke Connolly for Cork, knocking it in and putting it wide as well. Third wide. Missed opportunity. Didn't even think about it, just let fly the minute he had the ball in hands, really. Very confident in himself. And there is Ronan Buckley sitting it out the 10 minutes. We'll see him again after about 62 minutes when there'll be 8 minutes left in the match. One Hurley is about to replace another. So it is Michael Hurley, number 19, who's come on. And Brian Hurley scored 1 point, and that was from a mark. And we're at the second of the water breaks. Kevin.
I'm surprised to hear you say that, Ger, that Brian Hurley has been wheeled, because he was very, very threatening, and I am surprised by that. Maybe he's out of gas, perhaps, and they're trying to get some legs in now. And the brother is obviously a very fine player, also.
Well, this was another opportunity, and this was Clifford clipping the side of the post that time. They've had the goal chances. There's no doubt about that. Could have had a couple.
Yeah, they're just not playing with the rhythm that I expected from them. You know, I still sense, obviously, not a sense. Of course, they're a very, very fine team, but it just hasn't been happening for them this evening.
You give some credit to Cork for that, I guess?
Ah, well, of course you have to. I mean, they've set out their stall. They've set up quite defensively. They're driving out of it. They're throwing themselves, flaking into every tackle, as they might say down here, and really charging into the event.
In the scene set at the beginning, just before 4 o'clock, the question being asked really was, how would the Cork backs cope with the powerful Kerry attack? A powerful Kerry attack has only scored 6 points so far.
Yeah. Well, it hasn't been their evening. You look at David Clifford, just use him as a microcosm. You know, he's hitting metal, he's putting balls wide on the near side. He's just not as settled as he generally is. Now, having said all that, watch the final quarter. There's a lot of football to be played.
Sure is. Plenty of time left. Thankfully, the rain has eased. All set to go then for the final quarter. Kerry have also got a player prepared. Jack Barry is going to come in very shortly into their midfield, I would imagine.
And I do see Brian Hurley still out there, Ger, number 14.
Yes, he is.
Yeah.
David Moran takes this one in. Peter Crowley, the man with ball in his hands, fouled. Free kick to be taken by Gavin White. They've got to get motoring, Kerry. There'll be an awful lot of very anxious people watching their TVs in County Kerry, where they expect so much from this team. Beaten after a replay, as we know, in last year's All-Ireland final by the Dubs. There were high hopes in 2020, even if it is the strangest ever year for all of us.
He has to take some action now over this constant fouling in the middle. I know I'm harping on about it since literally the throw-in in the first half, but this is a big strategy that both teams are using.
Kevin O'Donovan is the player being spoken to by the referee from Tipperary, Derek O'Mahony. So what is to be his fate?
Oh, yellow for sure.
Yellow card.
Yeah. And Jerry, he could be talking to 10 more of them.
Remember that Kerry are still one man down. They've got this free kick. David Moran. Again, the referee waits because...
So substitution.
There's another player coming on, and that's Jack Barry, number 18. So Barry is on, Brian Obiagli is off. Had a really good goal chance suddenly in that first half, denied by Cork's goalkeeper Micheál Martin. Now the free can be taken by David Moran. Kerry getting a bit edgy. Sean O'Shea back here, Jack Barry into the corner, retained in there well by the substitute Killian Spillane. After him goes Flahiv. It's still Spillane, dangerous, and he fists it up and over the bar, and he's got the equalising score here for Kerry, doing exactly what was expected of him when he came on as a substitute, getting a score, getting the teams back level once again, level for the 6th time.
He was going to get a handy free as well, because his jersey's been pulled, and Derek O'Mahony correctly had the hand up for a nice handy advantage if he had missed it, but he expertly fisted over the bar. Level taken.
Cork go long again with their kick out. David Moran clasps it well. As far as David Clifford taking on Flahiv, holding him off. All the way back it comes, and that could be anybody's ball as Killian O'Hanlon got across, and then he was fouled.
That's
Jack Barry this time.
Yeah, it has to be.
Referee's doing an awful lot of noting, nothing whatsoever the ref can do about it. The players have been committing the fouls out there.
But he really could have let that one run, because Killian O'Hanlon got to the pitch of it, and the advantage was with Cork. He could have come back and done this booking later on.
Yellow card given to Jack Barry just moments after coming on. Maurice Shanley, the debut man from Clonakilty. Another debut man here, Sean Meehan. Here's Kevin O'Donovan. Both teams now going searching for the next score. Meehan looking along the line here, looking where Collins was, couldn't reach him. It's for Michael Hurley instead. Always has a score in him, you would feel. Maurice Shanley again, part of the strong West Cork representation. Kevin Flahiv here is from Douglas. Matty Taylor. Luke Connolly now trying to get it back into Taylor's possession, once again succeeds. A gap for once, Jack Barry closes that gap. Then it's Rory Dean, all the way back out again towards Michael Hurley, 45 metres out. O'Hanlon, it's with Brian Hurley. Loads and loads of possession, a lot of passing, they have to be accurate. Cork being patient, now putting on a little bit of a press here, freeing this one in as far as Collins, and taken down just outside the square, and that's going to be a free in from 13 metres. Mark Collins taking the pass there from his clubmate at Castlehaven from Michael Hurley, fouled by Gavin White.
Well, certainly played for it. Certainly played for that. And just another point to make, Mark Keane, who came on some time ago, hasn't touched the ball.
Yep. And he's only back in Ireland about 3 weeks, I believe, as Mark Collins puts that one over the bar. That's his 3rd point, and Cork lead again by 8 points to 7.
And Mark Collins played very hard for that last free. Again, he kind of fell back into Gavin White.
Oh, it's dropped there by Maguire. Jack Barry came in to pick up the pieces here. It should have been Cork possession. It's with Kerry instead. 12 minutes or thereabouts remaining of the 70. Jason Foley. David Moran. All the way up looking for Sean O'Shea. He's been very, very tightly marked all throughout this match. Sean Meehan's done a very good job on him. O'Shea hasn't scored. Jack Barry and Diarmuid O'Connor losing it. Back with O'Shea again. Here's Peter Crowley. Player in support on his shoulder. That was Jason Foley. This is Stephen O'Brien. This is the kind of tear-away stuff we expect from O'Brien. Then losing possession in the somewhat slippery conditions here following all the incessant rain. Kevin O'Donovan. Mark Collins, whose work rate is immense, he's been everywhere. Maurice Shanley. On his left-hand side, he had a pass to give. Sean O'Shea was after him, he caught him. Cork hold possession. Kerry applying some pressure up there, but easily taken away out of defence by Cork and by Kevin O'Donovan. 60 minutes gone. Nobody wants to make a mistake at this late stage and gift the match to the opposition, the greatest of rivals in Munster. Back once again with Luke Connolly, kicking it long. That's taken this time, and there was a push in the back by the new man in, Mark Keane, on his championship debut. Impressive catch, but used the other hand to foul
he certainly
the man.
did. As you say, impressive. Only you have to take away the fact that he pushed him and fouled him. Downstairs, I can see Paul Kerrigan doing a few jogs up and down the line, so we might be hearing from him.
He has a lot to give. He's indicated this might be his last championship season. Whoever loses today, remember, is out of the championship. Stephen O'Brien. Diarmuid O'Connor now. O'Brien again. Gavin White tinkering around the edges, looking for some penetration. Peter Crowley back with Jack Barry again. Diarmuid O'Connor. Kerry conservatively holding on to it, moving back. Now a chance to turn towards the Cork goal. Gavin White. Haven't seen those bursting runs of Gavin White that are so typical of the man. Here's David Moran trying to go through the centre. Brian Hurley tried to block his path. He was fouled. The referee gave an advantage. Now he's bringing the play back, and it'll be a free from around 47 or 8 metres out for Kerry, who trail, as you can see, by 8 points to 7 in the 62nd minute. Sean O'Shea will take it, and Cork are about to make a change, and it's going to be Paul Kerrigan who comes on. So Kerrigan on.
Evans fired. Is it Brian Hurley now?
It is Brian Hurley who's gone on this occasion.
Sure, can I also mention Derek O'Mahony and his performance? And I think it's been outstanding, really, in many respects. I know we pick small little bits and pieces here and there, but in an overall sense, in these conditions and the intensity of the game, top class performance.
Well, he's watching, everybody is watching Sean O'Shea right now. As I say, about 47, 48 metres out. Kicking into the goal at the City end. Up it goes, and over it goes.
Magnificent.
Now is the time for the man to step up and draw the team's level for the 7th time. It's Cork 8, it's Kerry 8, and coming into the match for Kerry is Jack Sherwood. And Buckley is staying off, so they're back to the full complement at this stage. Cork win it in the middle of the field. It's Rory Dean, ruggedly determined, giving it off here as far as Paul Kerrigan. Kerrigan all the way down, inside here towards Michael Hurley. Twisting and turning, kicking, under-hitting it, however. Easy for Shane Ryan to take it away and begin the counter-offensive. Sherwood's first involvement getting that one here. Well, we're into the last dramatic phase of this game, you would imagine, right now. Time for somebody to step up and become a hero and win the match on the day and take their team through to the Munster final in 2 weeks' time. If it's Kerry v Tipperary, it will be in Thurles. If it's Cork v Tipperary, well, some other arrangement will be made in the next day or so. Right now it's Jack Sherwood and Paul Murphy. Sherwood again right up towards the Cork 20-metre line. Sean O'Shea looking to try and score from play this time, and he has got it. Crucial moment maybe in the game here. Sean O'Shea, one from a free a little while ago, and now one from play, and now it's Kerry 9, it's Cork 8.
Well, he's really putting his stamp on it now, but huge credit to Jack Sherwood in a few of those phases where he tidied up, one ball, won a break, and then a lovely little tidy up hand pass and got it to the right man, the man that won't miss when he gets onto the right.
Micheál Martin going towards the centre of the field. Ian Maguire fouled, feeling his right leg. the big St. Finbarr's man, Luke Connolly, heading into the last 5 minutes. Kevin Flahiv, Mark Collins, confronted by Stephen O'Brien, going laterally instead, as you can see, to Maurice Shanley. Matty Taylor to inject maybe a little bit of pace. Rory Dean. Kerry trying to deny Cork that perfect scoring opportunity, and the referee bringing back the play. Free to Cork.
Yeah, Rory Dean knew that, obviously, and that was a very speculative shot, and poorly executed, of course, but he knew it was coming back for a free anyway.
Well,
and
you mentioned that they have the big man in there, Mark Keane. We've only seen one ball go in there. He fouled it, as it happens. There's not much point in having him in there unless you're going to occasionally take a chance.
But the whole game, Gerard, has been controlled with this lateral passing across, and nobody wants to take a chance at this stage now to lose the possession by kicking it in long.
Killian O'Hanlon. Again, waiting, holding. Oof. Jumping in on top of him there was Jack Sherwood. Powter trying to get it. Instead, it is Tadhg Morley out to O'Shea. Foul committed by Powter. Free to Kerry. Taken very quickly. Sean O'Shea feeding it back here. Tadhg Morley again, funneled forward. Killian O'Hanlon advancing, menacing. Stephen O'Brien. Chance, then decided the angle was too tight. Recycled here as far as O'Connor, all the way back to Sean O'Shea. And Kerry now just making sure that they don't give it away. Holding on to what they've got. Frustrating Cork as best they can. In came the challenge that time, but it still spills back into Kerry hands. Back as far as Jason Foley from Paul Murphy. David Moran. An opportunity now to kick for Killian Spillane. Kicking with confidence, with accuracy, and he's got a second point since coming on. Making his mark, making it 10 points to 8. With, as you can see, just about 3 minutes of the 70 remaining. Well,
it's been a while, if ever, that there was a 2-point gap in this second half, and now is the time to strike for home. Spillane has made a big impact, hasn't he, Ger? That's 2. He's got the fist and that great point from distance, and just what you need.
Totally different type of game last year. Kerry won by 3 points on that occasion. Right now, 2 ahead. Killian O'Hanlon down here as far as Mark Keane. Can he make a difference? Is there another score or two in Cork? Dean, Luke Connolly again having a go, kicking it, and very, very good accuracy shown by the Nemo Rangers player. Luke Connolly comes in and makes it a 1-point game once again. Second opportunity he's got, and he doesn't even think about it, just lets fly.
So nonchalant, isn't it? He's so good at them, and the last one just drifted wide. In fairness now, Cork have really come back to have a go. They're not sitting down just because it's 2, so Kerry are going to have to drive on to win this one.
1 point and 2 minutes remaining. Up as far as Killian Spillane, ready to take on Flahiv, cutting inside, lost it, seemed to be in 2 minds whether he was going to pass or kick that time. Gives the ball back, and the turnover could be used productively and beneficially by Cork right now, with Mark Collins giving it to Connolly, still inside his own 65. Ian Maguire. Kerry having to reconfigure, get back, making sure Cork don't get anything easily. Rory Dean, and out came the hand there of David Moran to make contact. The referee's hand goes out as well to get his notebook and to note the offence by the big Kerrins O'Rahilly man. And it's a black card for David Moran, so he will finish the match sitting on the bench, and Kerry will finish the game with 14 players. Second black card.
That's significant now, because obviously Moran, the referee indicated by the way that it was a trip that he was black carding him for. I thought it was a pull down. I'm sure we'll see it in the replay, but that is significant, Ger, because David Moran has had a big say in the high ball around the middle of the field all second half.
Sean White has come on for Cork, and I think it's Kevin O'Donovan who's made way, but White is on anyway. Here's Sean Meehan. Mark Collins. This is White. Played prominently in last year's championship, with Cork got in, of course, to the Super 8s. Matty Taylor. All the way back as far as Paul Kerrigan. It's with the captain, Ian Maguire. All outside the perimeter. All 45 metres from the target. Cillian O'Hanlon. Kerry will be happy if they can keep Cork out there. Luke Connolly feeds it back in here, retained somehow by White. Tried to go forward, lost, and that's Flahiv hitting it backwards indiscriminately somewhat. And Cillian O'Hanlon did remarkably well to keep it in the possession of Cork. Shanley, as far as Powter. Forward once more. Rory Dean, his team a point behind. Kerry can't afford to foul. They need to be disciplined. Here comes Powter. Up to the edge of the D. Now back as far as Sean Meehan once again. Kicking it down. Can they keep it in play? They can. And that is Paul Kerrigan. Recycling it here towards Mark Collins. There were two Kerry players after him. There's got to be 3 minutes of additional time in this Munster semi-final. And we're into it now, as you can see. So from here on, 2 minutes and a bit. Kerry leading by 1. Cork need to make this count. Matty Taylor, White, as far as Dean. Patient. Eventually they need to take a chance somewhere. Sean Meehan. Kerry need to repel them. Mark Collins again. Meehan holding on to it. Difficult situation. Pending in the corner. Back out here again towards Paul Kerrigan. Well into the second of 3 minutes of stoppage time. This has to be it. Cork have got to try and get a shot on target, and they've got to try and make it count. Otherwise they're out of the championship and Kerry are in the Munster final. And whoever wins the Munster final will be in the All-Ireland semi this year. No quarters. Powter well blocked down. Brilliantly blocked down that time by Paul Murphy. But Powter has it back again, and a foul committed by Gavin White. Free into Cork. Chance to level the match and take it into extra time.
Unreal by Sean Powter. Really bad call to take the shot, but he went straight down on the loose ball with a lot of Kerry bodies around him, a lot of Kerry boots around him, and bravely went down it and got his reward. So it looks very much like extra time.
Well, we're deep into the 3rd minute, as you can see, and the referee Derek O'Mahony from Ardfinnan has been checking. And the man who's going to take this is going to be Mark Collins, scorer of 3 points already in the game. 2 of them have been from frees. The referee wants the Kerry players back onto the 13-metre line. The pressure is on Collins. He had pressure in the club game here in Cork recently for Castlehaven against the Bars in the semi-final of the Cork County title. It went to penalties. He scored the first, and then it went to an extra penalty at the end of that, and he scored the second. And he scored a point here to take this match probably into extra time. It just inside the right-hand upright. A 4th point. It was a close run thing, wasn't it?
Yeah, the umpires wobbled a wee bit before they nodded to each other. I think it was over all right, but not much in it.
No. Level 8 times. Waiting now for the referee's whistle at the end of 73 minutes, and the teams will have to keep on playing to resolve this one here. Peter Keane and Ronan McCarthy will try and get their teams together here. So it ends here after 70 plus minutes, 10 points apiece, and it goes on and on, Joanne.
Well, like we said, one of today's provincial semi-finals was going to go to extra time. We just didn't think it was going to be this one.
Incredible. It's a very hard game to make out. Teams are playing. It's very cagey. Sometimes you can get that for 20 minutes, but I find it's been cagey all through. Both teams going laterally, missing chances. Cork are probably delighted to get in with a draw, but it's just very hard to call. Kerry have been very defensive. It's been very surprising for me in terms of their setup and how they've played and missing the chances that they have. And Cork are fully deserving of at least a draw for now.
From the Cork point of view, are they continuing to do what you said at half-time they were doing, bring this down to a fight?
Yeah, and there was a lot of fouling, and that's just a bad game, and I think that neither side now have shown tremendous appetite for victory. Both of them have defended quite well, but the amount of attacking play, or the amount of a quality attacking play, has been poor. Killian Spillane came on and he added something to the Kerry attack, even though he could have given the ball across, I think, for Jack Barry. Jack Barry could have palmed in a goal, but overall the attacking play on both sides has been poor. Both sides are lying back, and even for 3 or 4 minutes there, Cork couldn't get a shot off in that last attack. So it's just a sign of the times, and it's not a very nice sign of Gaelic football the way it is, that over and back. Like Dublin
But
are
sorry,
the only...
it's not, though, a sign of the times. I thought we'd got past that, had we not?
Well, I was just going to say Dublin had advanced the game somewhat, that they were well able to defend but break out quickly into attack. Kerry didn't do that at all, and the point I was making before the game about their wingmen, Jason Foley, Thomas Sullivan, Gavin White and Paul Murphy, never got into a threatening position up front at all, and they've been very reluctant to attack.
Yeah, but I think they've been very conservative from the outset, Joanne, to be honest, because I think the players that they've picked in certain positions are not really offensive players. I mentioned that they might try and slow Cork down around the middle of the field, but Jack Barry, Diarmuid O'Connor, Ronan Buckley, they're not out and out forwards, and I think Kerry have struggled. I can't remember the last time they only scored 10 points in a championship match, so it's worrying. It's all to play for still, but it's just it's been very strange.
Just, can you tell us why you think? I mean, is it because of that? Because they just want to? They have such fear of the threat of Cork, who've been playing in Division 3 all year, running through that. That's why they played so defensively and are trying to slow it down. Because this is not the Kerry we have seen evolved over the past 12 months.
It's the Kerry we've seen in the last 2 rounds of the league, Joanne, and I think this is the way they've been playing.
But is it because Colin did a piece beforehand where he showed, yes, they're defending, but they're also attacking with pace and in numbers?
Yeah, well, I just think they're taking a very conservative approach, and I don't think it suits their game. I don't think it suits Clifford and Tony Brosnan inside. Killian Spillane has come in, but they're living off scraps, and even when they do get the chances, they're not clinical. Like David went for great goal chances to start the second half. Was it really a goal chance? Should he have tapped it over? He missed a free after. They've just been Tony Brosnan missed a couple off the post and wide. They've been just very un-Kerry-like. So I'd say Peter Keane is going in now just to rile them up for extra time, because they're going to need to turn this around very quickly, because they've been so static in a lot of areas, and they've been crucified and breaking ball around the middle of the field. Cork have shown much bigger hunger for that.
And they also have to play for the first 7 or 8 minutes without David Moran, who's still going to be on the black card, and he was beginning to come into the game for Kerry around the middle of the field. But Kerry seem to be playing like a team with fear. Instead of going out to try and win the game, they're trying to make sure they don't lose it. Cork, in fairness, have really fought like dogs all around the middle of the field, and fair play to them. They took the fight to Kerry. They were 2 points behind with a few minutes to go. They wouldn't give in, so they have lived up to their name as the Rebels. Maybe in the era of McSweeney and different people like that, they're going to show the traditional Cork spirit, which was lacking in some of these games, and it's just great to see that they've taken the fight to Kerry.
Well, they certainly have. They have shown absolutely massive intensity in the first 70 minutes. Can they do likewise in the next 20? Let's find out shortly.
The stands may be silent, but we know you're standing tall behind us. SuperValu. Support where you're from.
Every one of us is still at risk from COVID-19. But every time we do the right thing, we're protecting ourselves and the people around us. So remember, we all need to take a step back. Let's make an extra effort to keep cleaning those hands and wear a face covering when you're shopping or on public transport. If you sneeze or cough, cover it or have a tissue handy. And download the COVID Tracker app to help reduce the spread of the virus, because COVID-19 is still a problem and we're all the answer.
Sign up to Air today and get gigabit fibre broadband this Christmas from $29.99 a month for 12 months.
A new chapter.
And get Amazon Prime Video on us for a whole year, streamed straight to the heart of your home. Plus the Air Sport Pack free, all with Ireland's #1 broadband provider. That's totally unlimited broadband, Amazon Prime Video on us for a year, plus the Air Sport Pack free from just $29.99 a month for 12 months. Call 1-800-500-300 or visit air.ie. Air, let's make possible.
To play at your best, the slightest adjustments can make all the difference. Every move, every turn, every angle. And when you shave, it's no different. Gillette Pro Glide Flexible responds to contours for our ultimate closeness. A clean shave for a clean face, so you can always show your best side. Gillette, made of what matters.
At Liberty Insurance, we wondered,
car insurance, what's important for you?
I always go third party. Kind of boring, but you've got backup, you've got cover.
Windscreen cover is very important as well.
Breakdown assistance would be most important for us.
Inside cars are a mystery to me.
Well, I can't even fix a tyre.
Liberty Insurance puts you in the driving seat. Only pay for what you need at libertyinsurance.ie.
It's good to have that choice that we can pick and choose what we do want.
Take control with Liberty Insurance.
Woo! Ready for the real world!
Could Ronan McCarthy's Cork be about to cause the upset of the year? The nerves from Mark Collins means that this is going to extra time. 10 points apiece for Cork and Kerry, but Colm O'Rourke did mention about the black card there for David Moran, and it's one of these weird anomalies in the games of Gaelic football where if you have a red card and you have a man sent off, you can replace him in extra time. If it's a black card, you can't. So they will be down 14 men. Should it have been a black is the big question.
Well, I didn't think so. Obviously, it was a free and it's a pretty awkward tackle, but I think the referee indicates that he set out to foot trip him, but I think that was after the player was going down. And
does that matter if it's a deliberate trip? Or it's surely a deliberate trip.
I don't think it was a deliberate trip because he didn't put his. He fell across his leg going down. I don't think it was Rory Dean had actually gone by him at the time. It was an awkward sort of one, but there were so many of those type of things. And a black card, I don't like them because it makes a referee decide, was it an intentional trip? Was it not an intentional trip? There was a few blatant ones earlier in the day, but the style of refereeing here today in this game is completely different than what we saw in the Roscommon Mayo game, where the referee more or less let things go an awful lot more. There's been a huge amount of frees for relatively minor things, and I think the referee has got caught a lot of times that fellas have broken out of tackles and the play has developed and he called them back for free instead of giving that advantage for the 5 seconds.
The whistle went quite a bit in the Leinster game last night between Dublin and Westmeath as well, doesn't it? Maybe it's a feature, maybe it's to do with slippy conditions.
Maybe it's something to do with the conditions. I think there's a bit of tactical fouling going on out there as well, and look, David Moran's black card, you can say it's harsh, but the fact of the matter, it was given, so Kerry are under pressure for the next 4 or 5 minutes of extra time. Look, I think the game is there for whoever shows a little bit more adventure and a little bit more quality. I think both teams struggled to score times. Probably Kerry were certainly more wasteful from my viewpoint, I think, in the second half. So I still think that they have the opportunity if they have the willingness to push on. That's the big thing. In the last 20 minutes they didn't show enough there. I think Cork were hanging in and pulled out a draw which they deserved. But it just whoever shows that little bit more adventure in the extra time and aggression will probably come out on top.
In what way do they do that, Colm?
Well, I'd say Kerry will have to play it cautiously for the first few minutes until they get back up to 15 players. They obviously won't be doing too much at that time. They'll be trying to ensure that Cork don't get ahead. But I think after that, fortune favours the brave in football, and I hope that Peter Keane is in there and he says to his players, for God's sake, lads, let's attack. Cork, on the other hand, are probably saying to themselves, keep playing the way we are. We have the game going in our favour. let's keep making it a dogfight and see who comes out on top.
Colm, you hinted at times at attitude from Kerry. Do you think they may have believed their own press, because they were being hyped nearly more so than Dublin as being All-Ireland favourites this year?
People were talking about Kerry closing the gap in Dublin, which maybe not a whole point of evidence, but I just thought they were a little bit casual out there at times, giving foot passes down at guys' toes, hand passing over guys' heads, taking their time, walking into tackles. So I think, is that complacency? I don't think so. I think it's just an attitude that should be better. I see Gavin Crowley is warming up there, so he seems to have come in for Kerry. I still think Kerry might pull through, but it's going to take a monumental effort and extra time.
Substitutions, could they be key as well?
Absolutely, because you could start off with 15 new players now and put on 3 extra subs. So you could go down to number 23 or 24 on your panel at this stage. So we're going to see the strength of the panel. Cork brought in a lot of subs early in the second half. So they obviously have confidence in their bench, but they're now going to get to a point where they're going to be digging deep into the bottom half of their panel, and maybe lads are going to get a game here and a chance to make a name for themselves that normally wouldn't. Maybe it's a day for glory for some player that may never have been heard of before.
And let's not forget, of course, that if it is still all square after these 2 extra periods of 10 minutes, it goes to spot kicks. Let's head back now to our commentary team, Kevin and Jar.
Yeah, 10 points apiece then, start of the first period of extra time. 2 10-minute periods, as you were saying. In the 70-something minutes, there were 57 free kicks awarded. 31 of those to Cork, 26 of those to Kerry. And as you know, Kerry will be starting this extra time period 1 man down, and that is because of the late black card issue there, which we were talking about, concerning David Moran. My understanding is that he's got about another 6 minutes left in the sin bin, so to speak, and then Kerry should be back up to the full complement.
See the extra man there, Ger's got him the corner back, yeah, just heading out to sweep now. Number 23 for Cork.
Sean White is the extra player being used as a sweeper behind the half-back line. Gavin Crowley has come on, of course, for Kerry. I think we saw that. We also saw, I think, Tommy Griffin, the Muir Forna, has been dispatched to the stands here by the officials. And that is an early foul there on Ian Maguire, and a quick free kick to be taken by Cork at the start of the extra time period. So very, very tense, as it so often is in Cork-Kerry matches, dampened down by the incessant rain that was into the back there by Jack Sherwood onto Ian Maguire.
He'd got a knock at the end of ordinary time as well, so it's just cumulative.
There'll be a couple of sore bodies tomorrow morning, I imagine, Kevin. Cork then with ball in hands, an opportunity for Sean White directing operations, the extra players, so to speak, in the way in which they are approaching this first phase of extra time. Paul Ring has also come in, number 18. He was the left cornerback on the under-20 team last year, and from Ahabollock.
Just in front of me, Sean Powter is cramping fairly badly, which is not good for him.
They're leaving him on for a little while. O'Hanlon feeding this one in here as far as Michael Hurley. Both teams now having to try and pick it up again. It may be a dogfight, as Colm O'Rourke was saying, but who's going to win the dogfight? Mark Collins all the way across as far as Powter, as you mentioned. He really is in difficulty. He has to go up, I think. He signalled to the bench. Rory Dean has got it. Now it's Luke Connolly, got one of the late points for Cork, and at the start of this second half he's put one to the left of the post and missed the opportunity. 4 wides. It's
a disappointed
in extra time.
Yeah, sorry, Ger. Just the Luke Connolly shot there was, you know, quite a chance. Clear of his accuracy, coming into his good side, and he's had a couple of wides now that have drifted that I'd expect him to score.
Kerry starting from the back now with Tom O'Sullivan. Haven't seen those runs that he likes to make, or Gavin Crowley when Gavin was on the left-hand side. Instead it's the other Gavin Crowley right now. Jack Sherwood, Kerry using their bench very productively. Gavin Crowley, I mentioned again, here he is, all the way across towards Stephen O'Brien. Tom O'Sullivan working it up slowly but surely, looking to try and get the first point of extra time. Two very tired looking teams at this stage. Any score you can get early on here, you'd imagine, will be absolutely priceless. It's Paul Murphy, Stephen O'Brien, plenty of energy left in those legs because he sat out most of the earlier 70 minutes. Jack Sherwood, nothing ahead of him there in the left corner where he was looking to try and play the ball in. Clifford leading the attack insofar as he's up there with two Cork markers against him. Kerry wisely just holding, and it reaches Jason Foley. Foley down towards Clifford, who moved across. Where he goes, Maurice Shanley's after him. Clifford fancying his chances up into the air. It's a real hit and hope one. If that makes it, it is some score. It's an astonishing kick by the one man down there who really can produce the magic. David Clifford with his 4th point. Just watch this, up into the air. Don't know how he managed to do that. It's a sensational score, a kind of Maurice Fitzgerald type score, and of course Maurice Fitzgerald is one of the selectors. So Kerry lead 11-10.
Imagine all the points we've watched over our lives, and I don't think I've ever seen a better point than that. That is just sensational.
It was. Will it be a winner? There's a long way to go in the match. Cork will have their own ideas on that one. Ian Maguire tried to fist it on, but Kerry there in numbers, grouping well. Tom O'Sullivan sending it back in towards Clifford again, advancing. Clifford hitting at the wrong side of the post this time. Just a little unsettled, perhaps unnerved by the presence of a couple of Cork players breathing down his neck. 9 wides by Kerry in this game. Peter Keane with some words for his charges. Cork building from the back.
I wonder had he the mark opportunity that time. I took my eye off who had kicked the ball in and where it had come from, but it looked like a mark opportunity.
I think he decided just to play on.
Yeah.
Sean Meehan leaving it for Matty Taylor. Almost losing his way, Matty. Oh, very much losing his way at this stage. Killian Spillane, the actions of a tired player down there. Energy sapping as well. Spillane, who got 2 very, very important scores during the second half, wins a free kick, G's up his colleagues. This is what he was doing here. It was Shanley who was in after him, brought him down, and Spillane earns a free kick for Kerry. They can go 2 up here.
Well, Spillane coming back to haunt Cork. That's hardly original, but he has really made an impact. He's been involved in a lot of the play. Of course, he's got his 2 points. The expectation now is Clifford will knock this one over after getting the last one. This is in tap over territory for him. But of course, 2 points in extra time, Jerry, as you correctly said, is a big score because teams are tired.
Again, a tricky angle confronting him, but the man who goes for the white flag was going across there, but he waves it wide instead. So it gives Cork still the opportunity maybe of drawing level. There's Maurice Fitzgerald. He would have been mighty proud of the Clifford effort a little while ago. They should have taken the next opportunity. That's Kevin O'Driscoll now who's come on, and it looks to be Ian Maguire is going to go off. He was injured a little while ago. David Moran's time in the bin has finished, and he's back out again, and Kerry are back up to the full complement and leading by 11 points to 10 in this first period of extra time. Coming to you live on the Sunday game from Páirc Uí Chaoimh. It's the Munster semi-final between Cork and Kerry. Kerry, the hotly fancied team to progress to the final of this provincial competition, where they will would face Tipperary if they make it. Sean O'Shea, Gavin Crowley now back with Diarmuid O'Connor, who picks out Tom O'Sullivan. Just 1 point in the opening 7 minutes of additional time. Only 3 minutes of the first period of extra time remaining. Kerry just nursing possession, making absolutely certain that they can not give it away to Cork. Sherwood's involved. Quick injection of pace here now. Runs away there from Gavin Crowley. Sean O'Shea working hard. Again, they just make certain that They dominate possession. Use it wisely. Tyke Morley almost losing his way there against Michael Hurley. Then it's Clifford back out there, ready to advance. He's 45 metres out from the Cork goal. Here's Peter Crowley. Crowley trying to go by, took a lot of steps that time. Referee says play on. Cork win it back, and Cork able to take it out of their own half-back line this time. That's Sean White back there. This is Clifford, looking and appearing so quick in everything that he does, right up to the 13-metre line. O'Brien gets it across there. There's a scoring opportunity, and that ball has been put up, and it's put over the bar. Killian Spillane once again, 3 for him.
Well, it was well deserved. There was a couple of fouls in the middle of that play. Clifford was definitely fouled early doors. It was Stephen O'Brien that was in the ruck, and he somehow came out just pure aggression, got his head out and got the ball out, and he did so well.
Down into the middle once again. This time it's contained by Cork, held onto there by Sean White. An afternoon now for really tough going for both of these teams. Need to continue to show their true character to win this dogfight as it's been described. Killian O'Hanlon across to Matty Taylor. Only 1 minute remaining of the first period of extra time. Cork were 2 points behind towards the end of the 70 as well. Then Luke Connolly stepped up and got one, and Mark Collins pointed a late free. That's Collins this time. Across to O'Hanlon. Kerry have dominated the possession up to now. Here's Connolly trying to get away there from Paul Murphy, and the foul committed, and it ends up being a free kick for Kerry.
Great tackle here coming up. You'll see him right on the ball. Paul Murphy it is, yeah. And then tackled with the boot afterwards, so he's been very consistent with that. I'd say he'll show him, flash him a yellow for it as well. Yeah, and big kudos there to Paul Murphy. Great tackle under pressure, no foul, and wins the free for his team.
Murphy is really a most highly adaptable and confident young player. Jason Foley. Here's Jack Barry, didn't start the match. David Moran back in there to guide this team now, he hopes, to another Munster final and beyond. If Kerry were to win here and go on and defeat Tipperary, they would have beaten two what were 2020 Division 3 teams to get as far as the All-Ireland semi. It's a long way to go. 1 minute of additional time. David Clifford taking on Shanley. Support coming across there to help out in the hands of O'Shea. Sean O'Shea tormenting the Cork backs. Still in. Lost and taken back by Rory Dean. Only about 15 seconds to go. Will Cork even get it down the other end of the field before the half-time whistle and extra time will go? They're 2 points behind. It's back with Dean again, all the way up to the Kerry 65-metre line, then taken down. Free kick coming up. Dean wanted to advance. He's looking for the ball to be brought forward because Kerry didn't retreat. Clever by Dean that time, trying to take it quickly. It means the free is now in a very scoreable position, and there can be just perhaps one between them heading into the second period of extra time. Cramp for Sean O'Shea. Free kick for Cork coming up, and it'll be Luke Connolly who will take it. Earlier on we saw Killian O'Hanlon kicking a 45 over the bar. Very good long-range kicker, but Luke Connolly, a man who got 2 goals against Kerry in last year's Munster final, one of them from a penalty. This to narrow the gap. It'll probably be the final piece of action at the end of the first period of extra time. Connolly steps up, hits it onto the top of the crossbar, but manages to get it over the bar. The important part, he can breathe a sigh of relief. He's got a second. Ronan McCarthy smiling. It just about had the legs.
Well, it's hard to separate them. That point will be a big boost to Cork as they trot in for the break, for the short break. But a lot of tired bodies out there now, Gerard. The second 10 minutes won't be simple.
Well, Joanne, just one between them at the end of the first period of extra time. 12-11.
Well, we're definitely not ruling out penalties, that's for sure. But are you seeing anybody here doing exactly what you asked, going attack?
Not really. I thought again Kerry were quite sloppy there a lot of the time when they had the ball up front, and they're leaving Clifford very isolated up here. They seem to expect that he's going to win the game on his own, and he's done the most strange things in this game. He's kicked brilliant points, and then he's missed 2 very easy frees. Went for a goal when he should have taken a point. Should have taken a mark here instead of playing on. It would have been an easy enough point. So he's mixed up magic and all sorts of silly things as well. But I hope it doesn't go to penalties. It's not something that I like. I know it'll be very exciting for people sitting at home, but I don't think it's something that is really a part of Gaelic football.
How crucial was that free right at the end, Colin? Because 2 points in a game like this is massive, and now it's back to just that single margin, isn't it?
Every score is crucial, Joanne, and I think there was definitely a free in the middle of the field for Cork, and the referee brought it forward 14 yards. Very silly again by Kerry. The scores are hard enough to come by. You don't want to give a player of Luke Connolly's calibre that chance, and he's kicked it over the bar now. He's right in there. I just think Kerry's game management has been quite poor. They've had opportunities there again. They probably could have scored 3 or 4 points and pulled a little bit away, but you have to admire Cork's doggedness. They're hanging in there anytime it looks like Kerry are slipping away from them. Cork rein them back in. So we're saying we don't want penalties, but I think there's a chance that we could see them.
And here's an interesting thing for the likes of Ronan McCarthy and Peter Keane. So we saw Sean O'Shea there getting a rub down. So obviously he is suffering from cramp there. You want Sean O'Shea on the pitch. If it's going to, well, you'd want him there anyway. But if it's going to go to penalties, do you take a risk and leave somebody like O'Shea on the pitch in case you need him for that?
Yeah, well, I'd say absolutely. And as well as that, if they get a free, he kicked a brilliant long-range free there. I know he missed a couple as well, but I think in the Monaghan-Cavan game, Banty was saying that he was getting Cormac McCarthy ready to come back on because he was one of their penalty takers and he wanted to put him on at the end. He didn't need him, as it turned out.
Yeah, I think both managers will put in their best players in extra time, hoping that they won't need them for penalties. I think they're going to go for it. Now, look, for both teams, it's all in. It's win or go home.
Are you both still calling Kerry, by the way? I don't think you're calling them by 4 or 5 points, though.
Oh, I wouldn't give up on that yet.
Okay. Well, Colin Cooper certainly hopes so. Colin O'Rourke, let's head back to Kevin and Jar.
Thank you, Joanne. Well, the match started 125 minutes ago. There's Cian O'Neill in there with words for his charges. We know how he has been working with the Cork players, and their conditioning at this stage, Kevin, I think is going to be very, very interesting.
Yeah, it's everything in these last 10 minutes, because obviously their starting 15s, their top players aren't there, and this is about athleticism now and the ability to cover ground and mind the ball. You need talent, of course, to put it between the sticks, but just the energy and the commitment to get to the ball now in this last 10 minutes is a major facet of extra time, and they've given so much. What was it you said, 125 minutes already? Yep. You know, that's huge going in the conditions we've had, and a real, fair play to both sides for giving us the spectacle.
Graham O'Sullivan has come in at corner back for Kerry, and I think he's replaced Tom O'Sullivan. So ready for the second period of extra time in this, the 119th ever Cork-Kerry championship match. Kerry looking for their 74th win, Cork looking for their 34th. Let's see what's going to happen in the remaining 10 minutes, not to be missed here. Place in the Munster final at stake, and both sides will be hopeful. Kerry very, very determined to justify the favouritism. Cork, well, they don't want the platitudes. They don't want the moral victories. They want the actual victory. Kicked all the way back there by Sean Meehan as far as his goalkeeper. Meehan with Shanley then under pressure, kicking it away. Cork trying to move forward. That's Tyke Corkery who's come on. Both sides taking every opportunity, as they're perfectly entitled to do, to use their benches to the fullest possible extent. Sean O'Shea back in here to Graham O'Sullivan. Now David Moran, long way from the Cork goal. Jack Barry. Kerry 1 point up, looking to try and make it 2. Sean O'Shea turned back. David Moran. Passes are precise, accurate. No room for errors. Good movement, really good movement. And that one just ran away there. And in the end, kicked over the bar, and there's another one. And it's once again Killian Spillane, a 4th for him.
Loose
this is
ball.
how it came about.
Yeah. Loose ball just flying around off feet and tired legs. But Spillane stayed alert and tidied up and got the score.
13 points to 11. And the kick out has gone out of play. Kerry now will have that extra pep in their step, you can be sure. 2 points up, sensing victory. Cork having it all to do once again. Sean O'Shea turning it back towards Paul Murphy. Interesting that he was very animated during the last huddle, trying to get his colleagues going. Killian Spillane again, what a difference he's made. And as I mentioned, at this time his effort has gone the wrong side of the upright. Stays at a 2-point game. 11 wides for Kerry, but only some 2.5 minutes into the final period of extra time. Micheál Martin.
They say the way to beat the champions and the raging favourites is with a late goal and don't give them any chance to come back. Could we see another chapter, something like that? 2-point lead, it's a dangerous one.
I think you're thinking of Tig Murphy, circa 1983, last second. Similar conditions. Mind you, it was in the middle of summer. Cork have possession, they have a free kick, which is going to be taken by Mark Collins. Rolling it back here as far as Paul Ring. Part of the Cork under-20 All-Ireland winning team last year. Remember, the county won the minor as well, so there's a sense that they're on their way back. Kerry will be hoping to halt their progress, at least for another while. Sean Meehan. And a double hop, elementary stuff. Free kick for Kerry, possession back. And the possession is so valuable at this stage. Players looking absolutely drained. Moran boots it away down towards Sean O'Shea, 2 against him, fisted back out into the waiting hands here of Kevin O'Driscoll. Retained here. Michael Hurley was being fouled. The referee wants to perhaps take a name.
In that last play, Shanley, the fullback, Maurice Shanley, got a lovely tap on it and a lovely tidy up. And Sean Meehan, of course, at 6. So there's 2 young men off those teams you've been talking about, and maybe a little bit before that. You know, big addition, no matter what way this goes. Certainly there's a central spine. Colin McCannell will have better days, but there's future there.
21, Tommy Welsh is back in championship colours for Kerry again in this extra time period. Now will he see them home? Kerry fans will hope so. Cork looking to try and get the next score. Jason Foley, the one he has replaced. Maurice Shanley. Paul Ring. Oh, it's somewhat indiscriminately again knocked forward there, and Kerry able to seize on it. Carried forward here cleverly. Graham O'Sullivan involved, so too David Clifford. Clifford right up to the 20-metre line, looking to retain it now. David Moran in support, booting it up into the air, fancying his chances. Micheál Martin decides, let's keep it in play and keep it alive. Cork need to get it up the other end of the field. Rory Dean, 2 points the margin, all the way up as far as Kevin O'Driscoll. Out here as far as Mark Collins. Inside the 45 to Kerrigan, who held on well. Collins once again. Cork free kick, but it's very near the sideline here. Nearly 6 minutes of the second period of extra time is gone. 4 to go. Cork need to make this count.
In that last attack, the previous one, Mark Keane, the Collingwood player, showed his rustiness. That pass, the indiscriminate one, you described it, Ger, and he should have really gone to the play much easier.
Well, he hasn't played very much Gaelic football of late. He's been in the AFL. Here's Connolly sending it up, sending it over. It's a magnificent kick by Luke Connolly, his third of the day. Didn't start the match. He's finishing it, and it's now a 1-point game. It's Cork 12, Kerry 13.
And who wants it now? Connolly has that in his toolbox. He mixes the fabulous with sometimes the losing concentration on some plays, but that was magnificent.
That's a great mark there taken by Tommy Walsh. Well, whatever about the quality overall, there's no denying the dramatic element of this game. Kerry by the minimum. Jack Sherwood advancing 45 metres now nearly from the Kerry goal, for the Cork goal. And he's down, he's handled the ball on the ground as well. Rory Dean says, give it to me, and referee Derek O'Mahony for the second time penalises Kerry yardage, and that's a poor kick away by Cork, and it means, well, Kerry had the opportunity of doing a little bit better than that. Free was taken away too quickly by Killian Spillane. And now Maurice Shanahan, as Cork try to nurture this, develop the move. They've got another 2.5 minutes, plus maybe a minute of stoppage time in which to try and draw level, and it's Michael Hurley who's coming up with this one, kicking it, a kind of kick that was earlier on being put over the bar by David Clifford, but not this time by Hurley, and it stays at 13 points to 12 in Kerry's favour. Almost 2 minutes remaining in the game.
Kind of feels like, you know, from either side there's about one play left each in their legs. That's my sense of it up here. It is a 1-point game, so the next possession is going to be crucial.
Here's an interesting man coming in. That's Paddy Clifford. That's the older brother of David Clifford. Paddy, who is 24 years of age, is going to replace Diarmuid O'Connor. So on for his championship debut. What a crucial moment in the game this is. Clifford on and O'Connor off. 90 seconds on the clock, as you can see, and then the referee, as I mentioned, may add on 1 more minute. Spills around in there, possession vital. Tommy Walsh has got it. Sherwood after that. Then it's David Moore and Kerry trying to hold on to it, trying to see themselves into another monster final. That's Clifford getting his first touch. A crossover here, it comes to Jack Barry, playing it back. Once again, Paddy Clifford. Able to take a return ball is Jack Sherwood. Kerry now trying to run down the clock. Cork need to get the ball back. Kerry need to protect it, guard it, ensure that Cork don't get another sniff of an opportunity. It's David Moran who's going forward, storming forward, 40 metres out or thereabouts, a hit and hope one. There's one forward in there. There's an awful lot of Cork backs, including the goalkeeper. Cork managed to get it back, as you can see. We're in the 20th minute. Michael Hurley is raiding. He's chasing after this one. Gets there ahead of Peter Crowley. Cork need to make this attack count. Paul Kerrigan keeping it alive. Back here it comes. Kicked across there by Mark Keane. Trying to retain it over there is Ty Corkery. Almost up to the end of the 30 minutes, waiting to get an indication of how much extra may be added on. Kerry hanging on by 13 points to 12. Luke Connolly has got it. Kerry can't afford to foul at this stage. Connolly advances, slips it past Collins, gives it to Kerrigan instead. 20 minutes has been played. This is the attack. 1 minute of additional time, I'm told, will be played, indicated by the fourth official down there, who is Seamus Mulhare from Laois. So can Cork now bring this to penalties? They've got to score. Kerry have got to keep them at bay. Maurice Shanahan in his debut, retained by Cork, not making any great headway initially. 30 seconds is gone. It's now or it's never for the 2020 season. Kerry looking to make the final. Cork just trying to stay alive. 15 seconds to go. Cork looking to try and get a shot on the target. Here it comes. Here it comes. It's Sean Meehan inside here. An opportunity maybe. Back to Meehan again. All the way back towards Luke Connolly. Connolly kicking up into the air. It's drifting, it's moving, it's still in play. It bounces. It's a goal! It's a goal for Cork! That is amazing! It's the man who came to play, Mark Keane, the man from the AFL, the Mitchelstown player, the Collingwood player. He boots it into the back of the net. It's 1983 all over again. Tig Murphy then, Mark Keane now, and Kerry are out of the championship, and Cork have beaten Kerry, and they go through to play Tipperary in the final. What about that for late drama?
Unbelievable. I mean, I was laughing here when you and I were chatting about the late goal in '83. Isn't history an amazing library, and how it can repeat itself? I mean, the shot was really for a point, obviously, from Luke, and it hangs and hangs, and here the man from Australia. What an inspired substitution.
Well, I wasn't here in '83. I was working on a Connacht match that day. I've seen the pictures. Well, Peter Keane and Kerry are absolutely shattered. They deserve to be, but they weren't able to put this Cork team away, and as long as it was still alive, there was always a possibility. You may be absolutely sure, as you said, Luke Connolly was going for a point. He didn't make it, but it reached Mark Keane, playing in his first ever championship match, a man who played minor and under 20 against Kerry, but he came up trumps here, managed to get the vital possession and managed to beat Shane Ryan. And at the end of it all, Cork have beaten Kerry for the first time in the championship in 8 years. Nobody thought it was possible.
And Ger, don't overlook the quality of the finish. That's kind of forgotten now in the shot, because the minute he caught it, he dropped it immediately to his right foot and got it into the opposite corner. It was a very, very fast finish, and it needed to be.
Lest we forget the final score here in the Munster semi-final in Páirc Uí Chaoimh reads Cork 1 goal and 12 points, Kerry 13 points. It's Cork who make the Munster final. Kerry will have to wait until 2021.
Ger and Kevin, thank you very much for that. Well, I know, Colin Cooper, you're obviously very disappointed, but in terms of shocks, I can't remember one this big, Colin O'Rourke.
Well, I suppose it goes back to '82 when Tig Murphy slid the ball in to the net here at the very end. It probably goes back, or Seamus Darby with that famous goal against Kerry. Kerry seemed to be on the end of shocks.